Look at it. Now drink it. Prove you're sorry for being such a useless waste of space." Arthur Blackwood's voice sliced through the opulent quiet of the hotel lobby. He shoved the filthy mop bucket closer to Elena, the gray, murky water sloshing over the rim and onto the pristine marble floor. Elena, a 68-year-old woman with hands worn from decades of hard work, flinched. Her eyes, filled with tears, darted around at the few guests who stared with a mix of pity and discomfort. This was the lowest moment of her life, but Arthur wasn't done. He never knew that this single act of cruelty would be the final, catastrophic mistake of his career. For 15 years, Elena Martinez had been a ghost in the grand halls of the Sovereign Grand Hotel in downtown Chicago. She arrived before dawn and left long after the last dinner guest had retired. She was proud of her work. The gleaming floors and spotless rooms were a testament to her dedication. She raised her son, David, on the meager salary she earned, sending him to college and then watching him build a life she could only dream of. He was in business, he told her, always vague but always successful. He begged her to retire, but Elena cherished her independence and the simple dignity of her labor. That dignity was something the hotel's general manager, Arthur Blackwood, seemed determined to strip away. Arthur, a man in his late 30s with a perfectly tailored suit and an ugly soul, saw the staff as obstacles. To him, Elena was just an old, slow-moving piece of furniture. He delighted in finding fault with her work, his voice a constant, condescending drone in her ears. Only one person seemed to see her as human. Sam, a 22-year-old bellhop with a kind smile, always made a point to greet her. "Morning, Elena. The place looks amazing, as always," he would say. And that small kindness was often the only thing that got her through the day. Sam saw Arthur's cruelty and hated it. He saw the way the manager's eyes would linger on Elena, searching for an imperfection, a reason to pounce. The tension began to escalate a few weeks earlier. Arthur called Elena into his office, his finger pointing at a security photo of a tiny scuff mark near the lobby's main entrance. "This is unacceptable," he hissed. "This hotel has a reputation you are single-handedly destroying." Elena knew the mark was from a guest's luggage cart, but arguing was pointless. Arthur docked $50 from her paycheck, a significant sum for her. Sam witnessed the entire exchange from a distance, his hands clenched into fists. He wanted to speak up, to say he saw the guest make the mark, but he was just a bellhop, and Arthur had fired people for less. Arthur wasn't satisfied. He wanted Elena gone. He saw her age as a liability and her quiet defiance as a personal insult. He needed a reason, a big one, to get rid of her for good. His opportunity came on a busy Tuesday afternoon. A wealthy guest, a regular at the hotel, reported his luxury watch missing from his suite. The only person who had access to the room in the last hour was Elena. It was the perfect trap. Arthur practically salivated as he marched down to the staff locker rooms with 2 security guards in tow. "Open it," he commanded, pointing at Elena's locker. His voice echoed in the small concrete room. Trembling, Elena complied. Arthur rummaged through her belongings, tossing aside a worn photo of her son and a half-eaten apple. Of course, he found nothing. The watch was not there. For a moment, Elena felt a surge of relief, but Arthur's smile didn't falter. It widened. "Hiding it somewhere else, are we? Don't worry, we'll find it," he said, his voice dripping with false concern. "You're a thief, Elena, and I know just how to deal with thieves." He didn't fire her. That would be too simple, too merciful. Instead, he let her twist in the wind for 2 days. He would walk past her, whispering things like, "The police are building a case," or "Enjoy your last few days of freedom." The other staff members began to avoid her, the suspicion poisoning the air. Elena felt her world shrinking, the weight of the false accusation crushing her spirit. She called David, her voice cracking, but told him only that she was having a tough week at work. She didn't want to worry him with the details. Sam tried to help. "Arthur, I was on that floor," he said, catching the manager near the elevators. "Mrs. Gable, in the suite next door, she saw the man leave his room wearing the watch. He must have misplaced it." Arthur just laughed, a short barking sound. "Nice try, kid. Sticking up for your little old lady friend? Very noble, and very stupid. Stay out of it if you know what's good for you." He patted Sam's cheek condescendingly and walked away, leaving the young man fuming with impotence. The final act of his cruel play was set for Friday, in the middle of the lobby during the afternoon rush. Arthur approached Elena while she was cleaning up a small spill near the front desk. He was holding a document in one hand. "Good news, Elena," he said loudly, ensuring everyone could hear. "The guest found his watch. It was in his briefcase the whole time. A simple mistake." A few people nearby smiled, relieved for her. But Arthur wasn't finished. His eyes were cold and hard. "However," he continued, his voice dropping to a menacing growl, "the stress this caused, the damage to our reputation, it's unforgivable. Your sloppiness and the cloud of suspicion you brought upon this establishment demand an apology." He gestured to her mop bucket. The water was disgusting, filled with dirt and grime from the floor. This led to the moment of ultimate humiliation. He set the bucket in front of her. "You will get on your knees and prove your loyalty. You will cleanse yourself of this filth." He pointed into the bucket. "Drink it." The lobby went silent. The receptionist's fingers froze over her keyboard. A guest checking in dropped his pen. Everyone stared, horrified. Elena looked at him, her entire body shaking. "No," she whispered, "I will not." Arthur's face turned purple with rage. "Then you're fired, and I'll make sure the police hear a different version of the watch story. You'll be arrested for theft by the end of the day. Your choice." Sam, who was helping a guest with luggage, saw what was happening and dropped the bags. "Stop it! You can't do this!" he yelled, rushing forward. Arthur's security guards immediately stepped in, blocking his path. "Get him out of here!" Arthur screamed. Tears streamed down Elena's face. She felt trapped, defeated, fired with a threat of jail hanging over her head. At 68, where would she go? What would she do? With a sob, she slowly knelt down, her old knees protesting. Her trembling hands reached for the metal handle of the bucket. "I believe that will be quite enough." The voice was not loud, but it cut through the thick, tense air like a surgeon's scalpel. Every head turned. Standing by the entrance was a man in his early 40s. He was not wearing a fancy suit, but a simple, well-fitting cashmere coat that spoke of quiet wealth. He looked ordinary, yet he commanded the room's attention instantly. Arthur, furious at the interruption, spun around. "And just who do you think you are? This is a private staff matter." The man took a few calm steps forward, his eyes never leaving Arthur. "My name is David Martinez." Arthur scoffed. "I don't care if your name is King Midas. Get out of my lobby." David smiled, a chilling, humorless expression. "You're right, my name doesn't matter. What matters is that I own this lobby, and this hotel, and the 8 other sovereign grand hotels in this country." An audible gasp went through the crowd. Arthur's sneer froze on his face, his complexion turning the color of ash.
He stared at David, then at Elena, who was now looking up at her son with disbelief and dawning realization. "But that's not possible," Arthur stammered. David walked past him and gently helped his mother to her feet, his touch full of a tenderness that stood in stark contrast to the scene moments before. He turned back to Arthur, his voice now like ice. "Oh, it's very possible. And for the past 6 months, since my company acquired this chain, I've been receiving reports about you. Reports of budget discrepancies, kickbacks from vendors, and, most importantly, staff complaints. Dozens of them, all describing your unique management style." Arthur began to tremble, no longer a predator, but a cornered animal. Those are lies, slander." David pulled out his phone and tapped the screen. "Is it a lie that you've been approving invoices from a linen company that's registered to your brother-in-law for double the market rate? Is it a lie that you've been taking a percentage from the valet service? I have the emails, Arthur."
I have the bank transfers. I have everything. The finality in his voice was absolute. Arthur's legs seemed to give way, and he stumbled backward. "Please, I can explain." "No," David said calmly, "you won't. You'll just leave. Security?" He gestured, not to Arthur's personal guards, but to the hotel's head of security, who had been watching from the back. "Please escort Mr. Blackwood off the premises. He is no longer an employee. Have him pack his personal effects under supervision and inform him our legal team will be in touch regarding the fraud." Arthur's face crumbled. The powerful manager was gone, replaced by a pathetic, broken man. "Please, sir, I have a family," he pleaded. David's expression didn't soften. "This woman you were about to force to drink dirty water," he said, placing a protective arm around his mother, "is my family. You should have thought of yours sooner." As security dragged a sobbing Arthur away, the lobby erupted in quiet, stunned applause from the staff. David then turned his attention to his mother, hugging her tightly. "I'm sorry, Mama. I wanted to tell you, but I had to see things for myself. I never imagined it was this bad." Elena just cried, tears of relief and pride washing away the humiliation. His gaze then fell on Sam, who stood frozen, still trying to process what had just happened. David walked over to him and extended his hand. "You're Sam, right? I saw what you did. You stood up to him when no one else would. You have courage and character." Sam, stunned, shook his hand. I couldn't let him do that to Elena. She's a good person." David smiled warmly. "That's exactly why I want to offer you a new position. The assistant manager role just opened up. It comes with a spot in our executive training program. If you want it, it's yours." Sam's jaw dropped. He could only nod, speechless, a huge grin spreading across his face. In the end, the lesson from that day in the lobby of the Sovereign Grand was crystal clear. It teaches us that a person's true worth is not in their job title or the clothes they wear, but in how they treat others, especially those they believe have no power. Pride and cruelty build a castle on sand, ready to be washed away by the tides of truth and justice. Kindness, on the other hand, is a foundation of stone. It's the small acts of decency that truly define our character and, sometimes, change our lives in the most unexpected ways. What did you think of this story? If it touched your heart, please leave a like, comment with your thoughts below, and subscribe to the channel for more real-life narratives. Thank you for listening, and until next time.